Hey, hello everybody. Today we are going to cook this pork spare ribs we picked up at the grocery store. They were on sale for $2.58 a pound. This one is about a 4.5 pounder. I'm going to go ahead and unwrap this and I'm going to show you how I trim it and cut it up and prepare it for the smoker. Okay, now we've got this rack of ribs out of the package. I'm going to show you the way we prepare this thing. Okay, first of all, if there's any big pieces of fat, you want to trim those off for sure. But first of all, see this has a little flap here on the rib. We're going to go ahead and take the knife and slice that right off of there. We're still going to cook this because there's some meat on it. I don't throw any of this stuff away. Okay, and then we're going to trim off probably one rib off of this end. And we'll find the last bone on this end, which is about right here. And we'll trim that across there. This upper half here, there's no bone in this meat. We're going to trim it straight across like that. And we'll have this whole rib section, which is referred to as a St. Louis rib rack. Okay, that's a small piece of rib bone with all the meat on it. Also, we're going to score the membrane skin with a knife. Some people like to peel that stuff off, but I just prefer to score it. And it actually helps hold the juice in there a little better. And it gives it a little bit of crunchy taste when you're eating it after you cook it thoroughly. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to trim it up and we'll be right back. Alrighty, we have our ribs all trimmed back here. And you see the main rib cage here. We have that all intact. The little extra scraps. This is a boneless piece of meat, which will be excellent. Same with that. These are all little scraps that we took off, and they have meat and bone in them, but we're going to cook them anyways. Now, my seasoning rub is something I home make. This is black pepper, salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and a lot of brown sugar, okay? And you can put a little paprika in there also. So we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle this stuff on our meat. We're going to season both sides of this. And we're going to let it sit about 30 minutes to let this meat sweat and all that seasoning soak in. Okay. So I'm going to flip this meat over and I'll season the other side. Okay, so now I've flipped them over and seasoned both sides. And here is a little advice. If you're going to use barbecue sauce later, you just season them lightly, okay? If you season them too much, you're going to get a very salty rib, which doesn't really go with your sweet barbecue sauce. I like to put barbecue sauce on these the last hour or two of the smoking, okay? If you're going to eat them without the barbecue sauce, just add as much seasoning as you like, little bit or a lot. It's all up to your taste. We're burning some scrap wood in here just to heat things up and to create a coal bed. And then we're going to use our peach wood to do the smoking of the pork ribs. But first we just want to get some coals in here and heat this whole iron box up before we put the food on. Okay, we're almost here to our coal bed. And I want to show you a little trick I did to my smoker here. See this big pan, which I use as a deflector. It was just a big tin serving tray and I put foil over it. And you see how there's just barely a little place for the firebox to breathe because most of that heat is going under the deflector and there's room on the sides for it to come up and on the very end. That way all the heat just doesn't go straight up to the top and across and out the chimney. It has to go flow underneath where the meat is, okay? And it's going to fill this whole chamber full of smoke instead of just going straight over the top and going out. So that's just a little hack you can do to your smoker if you want to. I'm going to put all the meat over here on this end. Anyhow, we're almost ready to get started cooking here. Our fire is burning very clean and there's just hardly any colored smoke at all coming out of here, so that's what we want, and it's really hot. I threw a few handfuls of lump charcoal on top of those burning logs to get us started. Brought the ribs out here. We're ready to throw them on. And you see coming out the chimney here, very, very clean looking smoke. And it's very hot inside there. Alrighty, I just set all this rib meat on the grill, and you see it's away from the firebox on this other side here. We're going to close the top. It is 11 a.m. We're thinking about a 4-hour, 5-hour cook here. We'll see how it goes. We'll try to keep our temperature 250-ish if possible. I'm going to have to come out here and feed the fire maybe every 30 minutes or so and put probably one more small piece of wood on here, and that's all, just to keep it going. Alright, let me give you a little insight of the way I do things around here. I usually buy 3 or 4 large bags of lump charcoal at a time. I pour them out, I sort through, and I take out all the big chunks like these, and I use them in the offset smoker. And all the smaller ones I'll just use on the grill if I'm going to grill a steak or some hot dogs or something really hot and fast. But these bigger ones are good to use in the smoker, or anytime you're going to cook something for a long period of time. Those big pieces come in handy. And then also I have these little splits. This one's an oak, I believe, and then these others are peach tree. And this is what I feed the fire in my offset smoker with the wood to keep it hot for a long period of time. Now here I have, these are sweet blend pellets, okay, for a smoker, and I use these in my little smoker tubes in the grill. Okay, so if you're going to smoke something and not using wood and only using charcoal, you could fill this thing up with pellets and light one end, and it'll slowly smolder and burn. For this one is about a 4-hour burn, and this one's about a 2-hour burn. You could tell by the size of it. But anyway, those are little helpers and different styles and different ways of cooking on your grill and on your smoker. We are 2.5 hours into this thing, and time to do some maintenance. I'm going to stir up these coals. Look at these hot coals, all right? Looking really, really good in here. I'm going to toss 2 little chunks of my peach wood on here. Get that stuff going. That's going to get it hotter. Close this up, and while that's lighting up, we're going to go ahead and check our meat. It's been 2.5 hours. Not sure if I just mentioned that. But we're going to dab a little bit of barbecue sauce on these. At this time. Some people like to wait 3 hours, but I think these are ready for some sauce. So I'm going to put some sauce on these real quick. Now, my barbecue sauce is pretty much store-bought barbecue sauce, but I doctor it up and I put extra brown sugar and molasses and a little bit of garlic in there, and maybe some onion powder. Okay, you could add to it whatever you like. But anyway, put sauce on all of these. We're going to go 30 more minutes with the lid down, and then we're going to move them to a tray and let them slow cook in the tray. You could also foil wrap them, but that's not how we're going to do it today. Okay, 30 more minutes. Okay, we got our temperature up where we want it to be. We're just going to wait about 30 more minutes, and then we're going to take these ribs and put them in a tin pan and cover them up and slow cook them for a couple more hours. And again, folks, see, we have a super hot fire in here. I got some wood, and I threw some Jealous Devil briquettes in here because they burn really hot and no smoke. And look what we got coming out the chimney. Very, very clean exhaust. That's what you want. Alrighty, about 30 minutes has gone by. Look at those ribs. Oh, baby. I tell you what, if you wanted to eat them, they are definitely cooked and done. But we want to make them so they're fall off the bone done. See how the bones are just barely pulling back a little? And those are going to be edible right now, but we're going to cook them more so they fall off the bone. Alright, folks, let me show you how we're going to do this. I have my tin pan here, and I'm going to pour a little barbecue sauce on the bottom, right where my ribs are going to go. I'm going to grab this real big rack of ribs here. Meat side down. Put it right in the pan here. I'm going to add a little more sauce to it. Right on the top. And just kind of brush this around. Oh yeah. Now we'll throw all these other pieces in here with it. So now we've got all the pork in the pan. I'm going to pour a little more barbecue sauce on all of this stuff. There's only a little left in the container, so we just might as well use it all. And it's good because it will steam up in here and boil in all the sauce, and this stuff is just going to be so tender when we're done. Here's what we're going to do. I have the pork in here. We put extra barbecue sauce. I brushed it all around. I have a small tin, kind of a cake pan here, which fits in this other thing perfectly. And it's just going to steam cook everything. And we're going to close this up 2 more hours. So at this time, we're just going to check our fire here and make sure it's going to burn for 2 more hours. And that definitely is. Those Jealous Devil charcoals really last a long time, so we're good here. Okay, here is the final stage of our ribs cook. We still have lots of good coals going on in here. I'm just going to stir them up a little bit. We've been maintaining around 200 degrees still. Okay, and that's all we need for now. I'm going to open this up here. We are going to take the foil top off of here. Look at those. Ooh. And they've just been boiling in the juice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take this one piece of the larger rib section here, and I'm going to flip it over just like so. I'm going to take my little basting brush here, and we're going to go one more time with the barbecue sauce on top of these. All right. Got that all. Okay, hey, we're going to leave these in here 1 more hour or so with the top off. We're going to leave this aluminum off, close her up, and then it's going to be chow time. 1 more hour. Alrighty, folks, our ribs are done. Look at those babies. Woo-wee! Let's take them in the house and taste one out. All right, folks, take a look at that. Woo-wee! We've got some good smoked barbecued ribs, and I'm just going to try this one here that I already had separated from earlier. Take a little bite. And it's hot. Mm-hmm. They're not actually fall off the bone tender, but they are bite off the bone. It's not going to stick to the bone. See that? Comes right off. Delicious. Alrighty, folks, that is one of the ways I like to cook my ribs. They come out really good like that. If you wrap them in foil and cook them a little longer than that, they will actually really, you could pull the bone out. But I like them just like this. They're perfect. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. It's barbecue season. Get it on.